Welcome to today's academic debate. Our topic is the system of value, SOV, a proposed new monetary system with a universal currency tied to real production. To my left is Professor V representing the SOV, and to my right is Dr. Morgan representing Post-Keynesian economics. Dr. Morgan, please start us off.
Professor V, post-Keynesians begin with a fundamental insight. The economy is non-ergodic. The future is uncertain in a deep, unquantifiable way. Because of this, private investment is unstable. Expectations shift. Herd behavior emerges. The financial system amplifies uncertainty. Your SOV system seems to assume a stable, predictable world where production and consumption move smoothly. How does SOV handle radical uncertainty?
SOV doesn't eliminate uncertainty. It eliminates the mechanisms that turn uncertainty into crisis. When money is tied to real production, speculative expectations cannot inflate asset bubbles. When investment is funded by real savings, the reservoir, not credit expansion, herd behavior cannot trigger systemic collapse. And because the reservoir provides multi-year stability, short-term uncertainty doesn't become long-term disaster. SOV doesn't assume stability. It creates it.
Post-Keynesians argue that money is endogenous. Banks create money when they lend. The money supply expands and contracts with economic activity. Your SOV system imposes an exogenous rule, money created only when primary goods are produced. Isn't that a step backward from the reality of modern banking?
Endogenous money is precisely the problem. When banks create money through lending, the financial sector becomes the engine of the economy. Debt grows faster than production. Asset prices detach from fundamentals. SOV restores money as a reflection of real value. Credit still exists, but it's backed by real stored value, not by leverage.
Keynes taught that effective demand determines output. If people don't spend, firms won't produce. Without government spending to boost demand, recessions deepen. Your system seems to rely on supply, primary production, rather than demand. How do you prevent demand-driven recessions?
By aligning money creation with real production and money destruction with consumption. If consumption slows, money destruction slows. Liquidity rises automatically. The system self-corrects. And because investment is funded by real savings, not credit, firms don't overproduce. Demand and supply stay in balance because the currency itself reflects the flow of real goods.
Post-Keynesians emphasize institutions, power structures, governance. Your system relies on a global institution to manage the reservoir and issue currency. How do you prevent political capture? How do you ensure democratic legitimacy?
By removing discretion, the institution cannot print money. It cannot set interest rates. It cannot allocate resources. It simply enforces a transparent rule. Money in equals value in, money out equals value out. It's not a planner. It's a scorekeeper. And because the rule is fixed, transparent, and global, political capture becomes impossible. The institution has less power than a central bank, not more.
Hyman Minsky showed that financial instability is inherent in capitalism. Stability breeds complacency, which breeds risk-taking, which breeds crisis. How does SOV prevent the Minsky cycle?
By eliminating the fuel that drives it, debt-based money creation. In SOV, you cannot borrow money into existence. You cannot inflate asset prices through leverage. You cannot create speculative bubbles through credit expansion. Investment is funded by real savings, the reservoir not by promises. The Minsky cycle collapses because its foundation collapses.
Post-Keynesians argue that governments must use fiscal policy to serve public purpose, full employment, social welfare, climate action. If governments must earn currency under SOV, doesn't that limit their ability to meet public needs?
It limits their ability to overspend, not their ability to serve the public. Governments can still build infrastructure, fund education, and whatever else the public wants to fund. They simply do so using real value, not borrow value. This prevents waste, corruption, and political manipulation. Public purpose becomes grounded in reality, not in deficit spending.
You're arguing that the core problems post-Keynesians diagnose, financial fragility, endogenous money excesses, demand collapses, institutional failures, are not inherent to capitalism. but to the monetary system.
Exactly. SOV removes the distortions that create instability. It aligns money with real production. It aligns investment with real savings. It aligns institutions with transparency. It aligns demand with consumption. It doesn't fight instability, it prevents it.
I approached this debate assuming SOV was a supply-side fantasy, a rigid system blind to uncertainty and demand. But I see now that it's the opposite. It internalizes uncertainty by building a reservoir. It stabilizes demand by tying money destruction to consumption. It eliminates financial fragility by eliminating debt-based money creation. And it grounds public purpose in real resources.
That's the goal. Not to reject Keynes, but to build a system where Keynesian crises don't emerge.
Then I'm convinced. SOV isn't anti-Keynesian. It's post-Keynesian in the truest sense, a system that addresses the root causes of instability rather than treating the symptoms. I'm switching sides.
Well, that's a remarkable conclusion. A post-Keynesian economist genuinely persuaded by the logic of SOV. Thank you both for an extraordinary debate. And big thanks to our audience. I strongly recommend that you watch Part 1 and especially Part 2 of the Universal Currency videos to learn more about the SOV. See you in the next debate.